let me tell the MAGAs out there, I do not give a fuck about your shit that you throw my way. It affects me literally zero. And the fact that I know that I'm living in your heads rent free makes it even more hilarious. But what I've noticed, though, through these attacks targeting us, because I've responded to a few of the people.
So did I, by the way. I have plenty of stories that we could share about this on the show.
Is that this MAGA base, though, is living in, they truly have been radicalized, though, in a way where when you actually have a human interaction with them, when you actually call them out, in almost all cases, two things have occurred. They've either been chicken shit, and they've all kind of universally claimed when they've been called out, oh, I've been hacked. So let me get this straight. So somebody hacked your Instagram. It's actually your Instagram, so that they can then write messages of hate, threatening and saying absurd and offensive things to me and my brothers. They hacked your Instagram. It's yours solely for the purpose of that. So that's one classification. When confronted, they run. They run like their dear leader, Donald Trump, who is a chicken shit, who can't stand up to people. At the end of the day, Trump is the biggest snowflake. He is the biggest of all snowflakes, and he's projecting. Alternatively, there were some people who I called out who were like, yo, maybe next time you come to Florida, we could have lunch. I'm so sorry. I've learned a really big lesson today. Because I even invited a few on the podcast, and of course they've all turned that down because they were chicken shit to come on. I don't want to come on the pod, but like, I really learned a lesson today in my life that was really important, and you seem like a good person, and I shouldn't have said things like this to you. And the things that they say, it's just very weird. It's sexual. It's about looks. It's very strange, So like, this is one person. I won't say his name because he actually ended up apologizing. Kyle Skinner. Oh shit, I said his name. But he
whoops.
Oops. He ended up apologizing, though. He did, and he said that he learned one of the biggest lessons in his life, and that I seem like a really good person, and he'd love to have lunch with me. That's how this conversation ended. But this is how he starts off, just direct messaging me at 4:05 a.m. in the morning. People like you make me sick. Must have got 0 bitches in high school, ugly ass, little brat, and pathetic. And a lot of them involved my relationship with women during high school. Like, that was not an isolated comment from a real person who's got followers. I mean, not like a lot of followers, but, and posts pictures with his family. Like, he was so radicalized, and he posted his job. He took it down. These people have their jobs out there that they think in their fantasy world, in their Trump world, MAGA world that they've lived in with Tucker and Joe Rogan's and all these people saying these things, that they just send comments like that with 0 repercussions. They are radicalized individuals who see no real world ramifications for what they're having. Brett, talk about some of your experiences.
All right. So I'm going to focus on 2, and I may remember some others. I mean, there were literally dozens, and there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these messages, but there were dozens that I actually engaged with at the end of the day. One of them was a concert photographer. I won't say his name. I'm not just saying that. I'm not going to say his name. But so this guy sends us a message on the Meidas account. He says something like, put the gun to your face and pull the trigger. So,
pull it up.
I'll pull it up right now. And so you all see the message if you're watching right now.
Blur it out.
And yeah, blurring it out. And so you see this message. And so I screenshotted this message and I posted it on our Twitter account. All of a sudden, this guy takes down his account, deactivates his account. Then he goes and he Instagram messages me, and he goes, oh, I don't even know how that DM came out of my account. I would never say something like that. My account must have been hacked. And I said, you really, like Ben said, like, you expect me to believe that somebody hacked into your account for the sole purpose of sending me a message to tell me to kill myself. That's your position. Yes, I actually agree with a lot of your views and this and that. And that to me right there is also a bit of a tell. I agree with your view because that means they know our politics. That means they've looked into us enough to know that. So then, I go back and forth with the guy. He goes, I keep getting messages. Now I'm getting threatened and now my jobs are on the line and I sell photos to Rolling Stone. And I say, oh, Rolling Stone. That's interesting that you sell photos to Rolling Stone. I sell photos to this person and I do concerts and I do this and oh, woe is me. And, I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, these are the consequences of your actions at the end of the day. Like, you told me to kill myself. The actions have consequences. You could say that that it wasn't you. I don't believe that. So that was that one right there. The next one I want to talk about is somebody who I will say his name. His name was Dan. This guy, Dan, the other night, I get just inundated with a billion phone calls. Phone call after phone call after phone call after phone call. I think I had somewhere between 9 and 11 phone calls on my phone. Then I get a text message from Ben's partner who sends us that this same phone number has called Ben 27 times. Then this same person ends up calling Ben's partner, then ends up calling my wife and calls her a million times. So finally, I pick up the phone. And this is what I hear on the other line of that call.
Hang yourself. Watch out for yourself, motherfucker.
So if you could hear what that phone call said, he said, hang yourself, watch out for yourself, motherfucker. Now, what Danny over here, here's the thing. These people aren't that bright. Is something that is a good thing for us. So Danny over here called on his actual phone number. Not only that, Ben's phone, for whatever reason, literally the caller ID picked up his name when he called.
Because I called him back on WhatsApp. When I called him on WhatsApp, his face, his name.
His name, where he's from.
Showed up when I called him on WhatsApp.
So let me take you through the saga that happened after this. So I look up Danny. I try to find out some more about him, go to his Facebook page. I find out, I see his whole family. I find out his father, who's a pilot for American Airlines. I find his father's number. I find that his father and him share the same address. Now, keep in mind, Danny is 34 years old. So I was wondering, okay, does Danny live with his parents? Because that would be a little too on the nose here. But let me try. Let me give a ring. I have the number. Literally, I have all the phone numbers right now. I have all the information. I know everything about this person and his family. So let me give a ring. So I call up Danny's dad. And
his daddy?
I called his dad. Mind you, I'm younger than Dan. And so I'm having a conversation with his dad about his behavior. And so I called Dan's dad. And mind you, it is, 9 Pacific my time. So, I mean, what's the Missouri time zone? Is it Eastern time?
I think it's probably Mountain Pacific.
It's probably Mountain or Eastern. There. So, you got to figure it's 11 or midnight in Missouri. So I call and the person picks up. Hello? I go, yeah, I was wondering is this so-and-so? He goes, that depends on who's asking. I go, okay, so I'm assuming it is by that response. Now, I'm wondering, do you have a son named Dan? That depends on who's calling here. Okay, well, my name's Brett Mycelis. I work for a group named MeidasTouch. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but your son Dan has been calling me. He's called me about a dozen times. He's called my brother multiple dozens of times. He's called, and he's harassing us. He's spamming us. But not only that, he's threatening our lives. I said, are you aware of that? Oh, no, I didn't realize that you did that he was doing that. I said, listen, I know you're you're probably like an honorable man. You're probably like somebody who loves your country. Like, I'm sure you're a good guy, and I'm sure Dan is also not a bad person. I know that you're a pilot. I know that you have this great job. Like, I know you're an upstanding citizen in this world. So, like, why would your son be calling me at 11 midnight your time to tell me to kill myself? He goes, well, if would you mind if I happen to have Dan right next to me right now, would you talk to him man to man and have a conversation about this? I said, of course. Put Dan on right now. And now I will, rather than recount the story, should I play the full phone call, or at least most of the phone call that I had with Dan?
Yes, absolutely. But I just have to say, before you play it, you never say the expression man to man. But in this phone call, You use that expression all the time. So it's hilarious to me now, the origin of that story that his dad had said that to you, which is why it was so fresh in your brain.
Yeah, it's cause his dad said, "Will you speak to my son man to man?"
In your life.
Yeah, so that's why I went in. So we talking man to man right now, daddy's boy, little daddy's boy living in his daddy's basement who calls me and thinks it's okay to threaten me, to threaten my wife, to threaten my brothers, to threaten all of our loved ones. You think that's cool? You think that's cool, Danny boy? I'll play you the phone conversation right now. And this it goes on for a little bit, so just get ready.
Maybe do like an abbreviated version. I think people get the point.
All right. I'll do a few minutes of it. You with your daddy? You think you're a tough guy, Dan?
No.
Is there something you want to say? Is there something you want to man up to right now, man to man?
I fucked up.
You fucked up?
Yep,
Do you apologize?
I do.
Are you going to call everybody who you called and send text messages and profusely apologize for what you've done? This is your chance. I'm not mad at you. I'm just talking to you man to man. You don't call somebody. You don't call somebody's wife. You don't threaten them and harass them.
I didn't threaten anyone.
You told me to hang myself. You said you were coming for me. So
I did not.
I have it recorded, actually. And so you could either apologize man to man, say you're sorry to me, apologize to everybody you called, take it back, or I'm going to have to take the necessary action, call the authorities right after this phone call.
Of course, I will.
All right?
I'm not positive who I called.
All right, well, you call everybody back who you called. You know your missed calls. Man up about this. Be a man.
I will.
All right? This could be a learning moment for you, all right? You don't call strangers and do that shit.
Just such cowards. He couldn't even admit it.
I think he was peeing his pants.
Even admit it. It sounded like the guy was near tears. He was sitting next to his daddy. He sounded like he was near tears. What he told me, so after that, he calls me back up immediately because I told him to call up everybody who he had contacted. He didn't realize that I was the person he had just talked to. So then he calls me to apologize again after that. And he informs me that he works for an organization in which he has access to people's phone numbers and that he took advantage of having access to our phone numbers through whatever database he has. I don't know what company he works for. I don't know what that was. But, he did end up calling back, our wives. He ended up calling back Ben and apologizing. But the fact is, you see how they cower once they are confronted. And guys, I don't speak like that to anybody ever. Like, I don't raise my voice like that. I really don't speak like that to anybody. But I needed to be stern with this guy because he was threatening my life and the people who I love the most. And so you just see how he cowers. He's near tears. And still, after all that pressing, he goes, I didn't say that to hang yourself. I didn't say that. It's like, dude, I have it on tape that you said that to me. Like, the thing is, they are so radicalized that once they see something that triggers them or once they are called to war, so to speak, they just can't even control themselves. They just start reaching out.
It's a Pavlovian,
right?
It's a Pavlovian response. And
Ben,
that,
real quick,
is...
I reflect back on Ben. I reflect back on what you said last podcast, man. You enter the arena, you can't expect to not get dinged. These people decided to come at us, enter our arena, and we don't back down from this type of stuff. I don't care if they're weird incels living with their parents. I don't care if they're these weirdo projectionists who literally have no lives. Like, if they're going to come at us and make these threats, you better believe that we're going to find out exactly who they are and put them on blast. I think we actually called about 4 or 5 different work locations yesterday and got these guys under like some type of severe investigation.
And I'll talk to you about one of those too, and then we can move on from this subject if you guys want. Although I could talk about this all day, to be honest. So another person, DMs us and says, I think you should be wiped off the face of this planet, basically. And so, once again, this person, then he finished it off, make America great again. Once again, these people are always incredibly public. Like, I was able to see everybody in this person's family. Their Instagram account was open. I was able to see where they worked. All their information is out there for everybody to see. So I picked up the phone and I called up the company where he worked for, which was some sort of steel company in Arkansas or something like that. And so I call up And, they sound a little confused when I'm speaking with them. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I want to read you this statement from that one of your employees sent me. I want you to know, you tell me, does this align with the values of your company? And I read it to them and they were like, oh, well, what was the name of the person that you said? And they hesitated for a little bit and then told me that this person actually did not work for them. Now, I later found out that this was a complete and total lie, that the HR department actually lied to us about him not working for them. So, then, I end up contacting the person's wife, I believe it's his wife, on Instagram, and I sent him the message, and I said, hey, do you think this is okay? For people to be sending messages like this to me and my family? This is sent by your husband. Do you think this is an okay way to speak to somebody? I'm just genuinely curious. And then I get a whole message back. Oh my gosh, he would never say that. He would never do that.
Was he hacked?
He said he was hacked. He doesn't even use social media. His account must have been hacked. Oh no, you can't do this. I can't believe it. And I said, once again, I don't believe you, but listen, I'm going to give him a chance to apologize to me. And, I'm happy to call back up and say that we're all good. If I get an apology, I will stand down. She goes, but he didn't do this and da 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 da. Can I please have your number? He wants to talk to you. His company wants to talk to you. We have a 5-month-old kid. I can't afford to lose my job. He can't afford to lose his job. Da 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 da. I go, okay, here's my phone number. Let's chat about this. And so the guy calls me a little while later and we speak, and he goes, yeah, so I just want to let you know that, I didn't send that message. Am I a Trump supporter? You're damn right I'm a Trump supporter, but I didn't. I'm like, okay. Once again, you clearly sent the message. Nobody hacked into your random account so that they could send me a death threat. That just is not what happens. And everybody who I contacted, there wasn't a mass hacking this weekend over the last 48 hours.
I think people need stronger passwords. Is one of the lessons I've learned from this.
Stop making your password or 1 2 3 4 5 6.
Seriously, when backed into the corner, we don't run like these losers. We don't run like these pathetic people. No, we fight back.
So here's the thing. Let me tie it all together. These right-wing extremists are in an echo chamber of lies, of fraud, of fear. Okay. And it's created by the Fox Newses of the world, the Dan Baginos of the world, the
and Shapiro's
Steve
of the
Bannon's
world.
of the world. They've literally created, how people talk about a metaverse is being created. It's literally its own
the metaverse.
It's really its own verse.
The MAGAverse.
The MAGAverse.
Yeah, it's their own language where gazpacho is a thing and the January and legitimate political discourse is January 6th, and it's a fake world that they live in. And what they're doing, what Fox News, what they're intentionally doing is otherizing people who do not share their fascistic views, which at the end of the day is just to enrich an oligarchy, a billionaire class of people like Rupert Murdoch and others in this country. And so what they do, how they paint, whether it's AOC, whether it's us, whether it's a Soros,
Hillary Clinton,
Hillary Clinton, as cockroaches. We're dehumanized is what Fox News is ultimately doing. And they're creating these lies out there. And there are people, 60, 70 million people in the country that believe that. Where we have to counter that, though, is look, as you said, Jordy, we'll push back. We'll be in the arena. We'll fight it. But we should never be distracted. Okay? What we have to be focused on is hope, is love, is optimism, because ultimately that's what will advance our country. That's what will advance the people of this world. We're not living, you dip your toes in this world of stoolies. It's scary. It's not scary because I'm afraid of it. It's scary that these people are harboring such paranoia. Mm-hmm. They're harboring such anger, and they walk around this country so desperate, so so spiteful. Their views, these men's views about women are so atrocious. And they carry this with them every single day, these seething, angry people. But MeidasTouch, we're providing hope at the end of the day. We're not living in that world. We don't live in that echo chamber. We got to call out that echo chamber.